Hello, everyone. Thank you to the IIC for hosting this discussion and for inviting me to participate. You know, for more than 50 years, IIC has helped enrich our international dialogue about communications, and I am so pleased to join so many of my distinguished counterparts from around the world to add to this global discussion. I am here as part of a new American administration, but I'm also here to reaffirm our oldest values in communications, and that is connecting all. So I want to talk today about our commitment to closing the digital divide, not just here in the United States, but everywhere it exists. This is a challenge that demands common action. After all, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced all of us to take a digital leap in our daily lives, but it has also exposed that not all of us are equally equipped for this technology-enabled future. There are big disparities when it comes to accessing the digital age, and being consigned to the wrong side of the digital divide can mean lack of access to so much more than just technology. It can mean lack of access to employment opportunities, news, education, healthcare, and more. Now, what gives me confidence in our future is that around the world, regulators have shown a readiness to confront this challenge head-on and build a healthier, more inclusive, and more resilient tomorrow. Europe has set a vision for a digital decade that includes gigabit connectivity for everyone and 5G service everywhere. In Latin America, 10 countries have approved a digital agenda that identifies 39 specific connectivity goals over the next 2 years. In Africa, the African Union is pursuing a digital moonshot initiative that invests in new connectivity and a digitally savvy workforce. And in South Korea, regulators have announced a digital New Deal that is focused on the development of 5G infrastructure and cloud computing. Now, the names of these initiatives might be different, but each of these efforts is united in their recognition that the future belongs to the connected. I believe that too. I believe that no matter who you are or where you live, you need access to modern communications to have a fair shot at 21st century success. That's why at the Federal Communications Commission, I am pursuing a 100% broadband policy to help bring affordable, reliable, high-speed broadband to 100% of the country. The Commission's Broadband for All strategy starts with targeted public investments to make sure high-speed internet is available to everyone, everywhere. And through our Universal Service Program, the Commission is working to invest billions to build out high-speed wired and wireless broadband networks to parts of the country where the economics don't quite work for private investment. I'm particularly pleased that building more broadband is at the heart of the legislative discussions we are having about infrastructure in this country, because new investment will help us make major strides toward the goal of universal broadband availability. But you know, it's not enough to invest in rural broadband. The truth is we need to do it wisely. That's why earlier this year, the FCC created a broadband data task force to help us truly understand where broadband is and is not all across the country. You know, it's an open secret that until now, the FCC's broadband maps didn't give us a totally accurate picture of broadband availability in America. Better data is important because it means better policymaking, and that means better outcomes for those we serve. For the first time, we are also acknowledging some hard truths about the digital divide. It is deeper and more complex than just infrastructure. In truth, the digital divide is also a problem of affordability and inclusivity. So we need solutions to address these dimensions too. I'm proud to say that the United States is making historic investments to help with broadband affordability and inclusivity during the pandemic. With $3.2 billion from our Congress, the FCC launched the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. It's the largest program ever we've had to help Americans afford broadband service. In just 5 months, we've already enrolled over 6 million households who are receiving at least $50 a month for broadband service. It helps them pay their bills, it helps them stay online. Separately, we have created the Emergency Connectivity Fund, the largest effort in our nation's history to make sure all students have access to the broadband and devices they need outside of school. During this program's first application window, we actually received requests for over $5 billion to fund more than 9 million connected devices and more than 5 million broadband connections. Now, the overwhelming response to these programs demonstrates that there is real demand for help with broadband affordability. I hope that we sustain this commitment to broadband affordability once we get beyond the pandemic. And in fact, I'll be working to see that we do. When it comes to erasing the digital divide, we aren't just looking to solve long-standing inequities. We want to prevent new divides from forming. And this is a central focus of my work to promote 5G development and deployment. Because closing the digital divide also requires making 5G available to everyone everywhere in a modern and open way. To do that, first and foremost, we are pivoting to making more mid-band spectrum available for 5G. In fact, this week, the FCC is kicking off an auction of 100 megahertz of prime mid-band spectrum in the 3.45 gigahertz band. These airwaves are what I like to think of as the sweet spot for realizing the 5G promise in more parts of the country. It will help foster more competition, wider coverage, and better performance. We're also rethinking how 5G networks should be built. We're exploring how we can shift away from legacy telecom architectures and embrace newer, software-defined, open and interoperable technologies like Open RAN. So let me close by saying this: we are far stronger and for far longer when we come together to meet these challenges. Together we can rebuild from this pandemic and move forward to what I really believe can be an even brighter future. And we need leadership that believes this too. My fellow American, Doreen Bogdan-Martin, is running to be the next Secretary General of the International Telecommunications Union. Doreen has been a tireless advocate on these issues. She currently serves as director of the ITU's Development Bureau. And under her leadership, the Bureau has transformed into an organization that listens to its members, engages with traditional partners, and builds new alliances. I think that's exactly what we need right now during a global pandemic. And I believe she has a lot more to offer the ITU, including as Secretary General. So I've talked about our experiences in the United States today, but of course, sharing best practices is a two-way street. Please know that I'm committed to learning from you and other international partners, because working together, we can close the digital divide and extend the benefits of the internet age to everyone, everywhere, all across the globe. Thank you.